Alright, hi everyone. So, this week we're just talking about our research topic. Mine is going to be 9/11 and how people may need long term recovery after or any extra help, such as counseling. And let's see, what are your most effective search terms that brought up the best search results on your topic? So, on EBSCO, I typed in long-term recovery and or after 9/11, and I did that first, like, without anything else, and that obviously came up with thousands and thousands of different searches. So obviously I needed to narrow it down a lot to make the search better. So then I added counseling to that, and that brought it down a lot. I literally have 35 options, and I did look through all of them, and some of them were even specifically about 9/11, so I could really narrow those out as well. So I think I ended up only having I have the 5 down. I think there was only maybe 8 that were really good that I would consider using. Any tips for other students? I would say definitely I went through and made sure that the year was, some of them I've had since being a psychology major. I have to look at articles all the time, and there's studies that go back to I think I've seen 1960 before, so it's you really need to go, I would say between 5 and 10 years. I think I did mine came up as, it was 2000 to 2017, and I did 2010 to 2017, and that gave me the best results. So I would say that, and making sure that you're specifically picking journal articles, just because there are different options that it gives you to the left-hand side. And I think that usually helps a lot. And then obviously being as specific as possible when you're actually searching for things, because the more specific you are, that I feel like that makes it so you're getting less results than if you're very broad about what you're searching for. So what are the 5 APA citations? So I have, let me see. So my 5 are, the first one is substance use in adolescents 10 years after the World Trade Center attacks in New York City. And then I have comorbidity of 9/11 related PTSD and depression in the World Trade Center Health Registry. Again, 10-11 years post-disaster. So I feel this would be interesting just because it's showing that what other mental disorders, I guess, do people get after that instead of just PTSD and depression. I feel a lot of people would assume that could happen to a lot of people, but it'd be interesting to see if there are other things that would come up that maybe you wouldn't think that somebody could get from that. And then I have the associations between coping, self-efficacy, and post-traumatic stress symptoms 10 years post-disaster. And this one has the differences between men and women, so I think that would be really interesting too, to see if between being a man and a woman, how did they react differently to that disaster. And then I have meta-analysis of counseling outcomes for the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. Obviously, since that had counseling in it, it was obviously going to tie into my topic very well. And then I have my last one, as it's called The Ripple Effect, Lessons Learned About Secondary Traumatic Stress Among Clinicians Responding to the September 11 Terrorist Attacks. So I thought this one was interesting because it's more focused on how the clinicians handled it rather than the actual people who were there and witnessed it. So it's how the clinicians handled trying to help those people. And then what questions do you have for the librarians? What is still confusing? I don't know if I have any major questions. I think my one thing would be, after watching the video that we had to watch this week, when you have the only option to get that article is the request with the little green squirrel. I think the only thing that I've heard, I've actually never had to request an article, but a lot of people say that if you have to request it, it takes a while to actually get it. So I guess my question would be, why does it take so long? Because if somebody needs it by a specific time to be able to like write a paper or just even read the article, I think that they would have to do it really far in advance. So I think it would just be nice to be able to know that you're going to get it quickly. And I feel like it just, again, probably just depends on the article. So yeah, I think that's the only thing really. I think this EBSCO is very helpful, and if you know how to use it and find what you're looking for and how to narrow it down, I think it is a very helpful database.